Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. The chat is already very active. Before we bring in the stars of the show, let's see how we did on a Monday. It's a winning record, not too impressive. It's 4 wins, 3 losses. Can I just say, this really should have been 5-2. Mike McClure's Blues Jets first period under 1.5 goal lost with 2 seconds left on the clock. In fact, I think the first goal was in the last 5 minutes, and the second goal to lose the bet was with 2 seconds left on the clock. I know a lot of you were on that. That is just a very tough beat, but shout out to Prop Stars for the Jamal Murray over. Sniper goes 1 for 2, including that early play. And the SportsLine Picks, 2 out of 3. I will say Ben finally lost. He had the over 109.5. Of course, the Clippers end up winning that game. They don't get to 110. But Ben has been so hot. So I don't know, maybe, just maybe, he'll have a pick in the NBA today. We'll have other picks in the NBA, including yours in the chat. Hit the like button. Ask us any questions you want, whether it's MLB, soccer, or NBA related, because we've got the stars of the show here to answer them all. We start off with Mackenzie Brooks, who's been doing a lot of NFL draft stuff, but of course, everything else as well. We got buckets with soccer, and we got AMags with baseball. Mackenzie, I want to start with you. I'm going to see you later on the network show. It's going to be very NFL draft intensive, but right now, where's your focus? Is it NBA? Is it NFL? Or is it something else?
This time of year, at least it's nice because it's a very digestible amount of NBA games. Like to focus on the draft, then have 2 to 3 NBA games versus the 12 game slate I'm used to. Honestly, it feels all very obtainable, and so I'm rocking and rolling. After this week, things should slow down a little bit, but this is my favorite time of year. I love NBA playoffs. I love when we can spend more time looking at specific games and trying to spray the whole board.
It is a really great time of year because we got the NHL playoffs. Shout out to Alexander Ovechkin, who scored an overtime goal yesterday, leading the Caps to a 3-2 win. Of course, I'm a fan of the Caps. But we got the NBA playoffs. We got soccer. We got MLB. Like, there's just in the NFL draft, of course, a ton going on right now. Buckets, let us know what's going on with soccer. Are we still looking at Champions League, or are we looking at something else?
We've still got Champions League, but not until next week. But before we talk about soccer, Sia, I apologize specifically to you, Kens, because I feel like whenever we do a show, I take things very off the rails. But I do need to do that again this morning, if that's okay with everyone. I have a question for our wonderful panel of hosts here. This is hypothetically, of course. Mm-hmm. If you go to a fast food restaurant in the drive-thru and you order a meal like a Caniac combo, hypothetically, for instance, and you say, can I please get extra ketchup with this? What would you assume is a fair amount of extra ketchup? How many packets would you assume you would get if you ask that?
Can I answer first? Yes. 4 to 5 ketchup packets would be extra to me.
Okay. AMags?
AMags. And Mackenzie, go first.
I was going to go with like 5, I feel like is typical.
AMags, shaking his head.
If I don't see you put your hand in the ketchup packets and it's bursting, if you don't have ketchup packets all in your hand, I need like 20 of them. If I say extra, come with the full handful.
Okay, I would have been fine with any of those answers. In my hypothetical scenario, I was given a single ketchup packet, and I'm not a mean person, but I went back inside to get more. I just had to make sure I wasn't crazy for assuming 1 meant extra. That's all I was doing today.
We stand with you, Buckets. We stand with
you. We absolutely stand with you. That almost seems like they're trolling you. That Cane's, not a sponsor, is trolling you with the 1 ketchup pack, because nobody would interpret that as 1 extra small packet of ketchup as he raises the Cane's glass. Hypothetically, right, everybody?
Hypothetically.
AMags, how's the MLB slate looking today? I even have a first 5 play, everybody, so I'm excited about it. How about you?
Nice. I love it. Yeah, no, there's definitely a nice full slate of games here right after the abbreviated games that we had yesterday. So there's quite a few spots that I was already in the Discord talking about, looking, and hopefully you guys in the Discord. Last night we had a little late night Robbie Ray third walk plus money. Whoa. So, get in the Discord. Maybe we had a little fun last night and cashed some plays.
I think people who aren't in the Discord don't appreciate how much actually goes on in the Discord. And AMags, I've noticed you just in the last couple of weeks, and it's probably been longer than that. It's just me noticing it, that you're just in there all the time, like just putting in plays. We have the expert chats that, Buckets, I know you're a big part of, but we just have people kind of like diving in and out of there. Tom Casale was sort of famous for doing that. I cannot express this to you enough. Become a SportsLine member and make sure you're in the Discord, because there's just so much more information, so many more picks there. Well, on today's show, we got to get to some picks. Buckets, I loved that opening question. We got a lot of people in the chat responding. I think some people are legitimately upset that you only got the one packet. I think they want the address of this Canes and they want to like lodge their own complaints, but we'll hold off on that. We need 2 soccer plays from you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to declare war on any local Canes because I am a frequent shopper there. I need to stay on their good side. I just had to throw out the hypothetical. Let's hypothetically talk about 2 winners I've got for us in the football world this afternoon. We are going to start in the Turkish Kupası, or the Turkish Cup, with a big match between Konyaspor and Galatasaray. And Konyaspor have been a very tricky team to bet on because specifically in cup matches, they've been playing really, really good defense. But really, really, really good defense doesn't matter when you play a Galatasaray side who is trying. When they last played in the cup, it ended 0-0, and the Galatasaray manager Okan Buruk said, basically, we messed up. We gave them too much room. We didn't play our starters. We will not make that mistake again. So expect Galatasaray to be playing the best they have to offer, which means that their over 1.5 team total at -130 is a soft line for a Galatasaray side who is capable of scoring 3 or 4 against any team in Turkey, full stop. Second match, we are going to a La Liga clash between Barcelona and Mallorca. And this is a tough one because Barcelona is a victim of their own success, which is something that we see happen to a lot of the big Champions League teams. We're going to see it happen to Inter, to PSG, to Barcelona, to Arsenal. And that is when you are at this point in the season and you are doing so well and you're a part of so many competitions, you have played so much more football than any other teams in Europe right now. Barcelona is absolutely exhausted. They are the better side here, but they are tired, they are hurt, and they are desperately looking ahead to their Champions League fixture, which means they're going to be distracted and rotating against Mallorca. Take both teams to score at even money, +100. They'll probably still win, but anyone can score against Barcelona right now.
All right, so we got Galatasaray over 1.5 team total. Did I get that right? Galatasaray? Which one?
Oh, either.
Okay, fair enough.
It's all about confidence, according to Buckets.
It's true, and he's good at it. Over 1.5 team total -130, and then we've got Barcelona and Mallorca, both teams to score +100. I'm looking at the chat. I see Danny Brasco in here, and the first thing I think of, if it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I see Danny Brasco, you better have a cricket play for us. I don't know. Maybe they're off. I don't even know what time of cricket season it is. But Danny, thank you for being here in the chat. As all of you know, Danny's not just a UFC guy. He caps the NFL. He caps cricket. I'm sure he knows quite a bit about basketball and baseball. Love seeing some of the team in the chat here. We got a lot of NBA call outs. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Let's talk some more MLB. AMags, you've got the Nats first 5, and you're looking at Elly De La Cruz.
Yeah, Nats first 5. I posted this up on the SportsLine website there. I just think that the wrong team is favored here in the first 5. Now, full game, I would side with Baltimore because that Nats bullpen has been putrid. They've stolen some wins from us on that win total that we played. So hopefully they can still get over the 70.5. But the bullpen's been terrible. I want to focus on the F5. We have Mitchell Parker, actually, who I really don't think is a bad pitcher. Last year, coming into the year and seeing him, as he was going through the paces, I was like, I'm not really sold on this guy. I actually didn't think he was too good, but he started to adjust a little bit. Of course, hitters are going to adjust. Pitchers have to adjust. I like what he's done, and he's lasted at least into the 6th inning in every start here this year. If you want to go to the other side, Dean Kramer has been terrible against lefties. I think James Wood here tonight, I would have put him on my hit run RBI, but I didn't want to go 2 Nationals plays. But James Wood, the hit run RBI, it's going to be a nice night there for that game. So back in the heat, I like the Nats first 5. Just think the wrong team is favored by at least 10, if not 15 or 20 cents. Secondly, Elly De La Cruz. I don't know if anybody remembers last year when he went to Miami and he racked up, I think it was 12 hits or something like that. Maybe it was 11. But across 3 games, he had an 0 for 4 in the 4 games he played in Miami. And the other 3 games, he really broke out. Well, last night, what did he do? He spent the first 6 innings strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. And that was pretty much the story for everyone on the Reds against Max Meyer. But that's a tough night. He did pick up a hit late in the game against the bullpen for Miami that has been pretty bad as well. I think that tonight, Elly De La Cruz against Edward Cabrera, a guy that he has actually some success off of in a very small sample size, only a couple at-bats, but he has gone for a home run in one of those 2 at-bats there. So I think tonight against Cabrera, over the hit run RBI, he's going to hit near the top of the lineup. They're the away team. They're going to get all 9 of those at-bats, some of which will be against the bullpen because Cabrera doesn't last very long. I think Ellie De La Cruz, the hit run RBI, is a great spot for us tonight at this price.
Can I bounce a couple of questions off you? Is Ellie De La Cruz the most exciting MLB player to watch?
He's up there. I think O'Neal Cruz is very exciting as well. I really like him. Two Cruz guys, right? And I was fighting with one of my buddies about this real quick. O'Neal Cruz, when he hits a home run, is Cruz Missile. That's not Ellie De La Cruz. And he keeps trying to poke the bear that it's Ellie De La Cruz. It's certainly not. So I want to make that clear. If you say the tagline Cruz Missile when they hit a home run, it's O'Neal Cruz. But yeah, I would say those two guys are two of my favorites.
One more question to bounce off you. Aaron Taylor, Tailored Winning says Dodgers first 5, I think he's saying money line, minus 115. It looks like we've got Dustin May and Imanaga on the mound, 740 start. Anytime you're getting the Dodgers at that number, I understand why it would be appealing. Do you have any thoughts on that game? Solid pitching matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're looking at just the F5 there, then I would side with Imanaga over May. But I looked at, if you look in the Discord, I did post it there. I looked at the Roto Grinders weather edge stuff this morning, and in a pretty significant sample size, this weather here today in, I believe it's Chicago, right? It looks like it's going to bump up to the hitters quite a bit. So I don't know how much we can rely on the pitchers. We do have Ohtani with the new dad strength. He did not homer in his first game back. So maybe that's a little look you want to take.
Yeah, I noticed the weather. I think in the game that even the game that I have over at Fenway, I think the weather is going to be advantage hitters. All right. I do want to get to some, I mean, we got so many more picks, including our SportsLine and producer pick. Obviously, Mackenzie, you got to give your pick as well. I do want to give a shout out to C Breezy, who might be Chris Brown. Musical artist Chris Brown. C Breezy 915 says, good morning, Early Edge fam. I have been a SportsLine member since August 2021. Thank you for that. And today is my birthday. Win or lose, I love this family and looking to celebrate with great bets today. Well, we can't promise you great bets. We'll have to see the recap screen tomorrow, but we can promise you that you're going to have a great time on this show. Thanks for being here since August 2021. A big happy birthday. Everybody, make sure you wish C Breezy 915 a very happy birthday. I would have thought it would have been C Breezy 422 instead of 915, but maybe you can tell us what that 915 is for. All right, BetMGM account holders will receive an MLB Parlay Boost token today. To use this Parlay Boost token, create a parlay or MLB bet to activate the token. If you win, you will receive extra winnings only at BetMGM. Let's get to some plays. Let's get to some SportsLine plays. They went 2 for 3 yesterday. We'll see how they do today. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning money line. It's NHL hockey. It's playoff hockey. You love to see it. This is both Matt Severance and Jeff Hockman on this Tampa Bay Lightning money line play. So check that out. Got a lot of people in the Lightning's corner. And then we're going Jack Flaherty under 5.5 Ks at minus 118. That one is courtesy of Prop Bet Guy. And then, of course, our producer, he's got to have an NBA pick. This guy's got to bounce back after going, 7, 8 in a row. Ben Wittenstein, our esteemed producer, likes the Milwaukee Bucks first quarter plus 1.5 at minus 108. Bucks on the road at Indiana. And I don't know, maybe we can get Ben to show up real quick and talk about this pick. We haven't really seen him on screen giving out a pick. Ben, there he is. Ben, everybody in the chat, say hello to Ben. This is the guy that puts this show together. I cannot tell you how indispensable this guy is to the Early Edge team. Ben, thanks for being in here. Finally. Okay, so this is probably my fault. I should have had you in here a lot earlier. Thanks for showing up. You like the Bucks on the road, first quarter plus 1.5. Explain yourself, my friend.
Yeah, we were riding that 8-game win streak, and at some point, had to come to an end, which is fine. I was expecting it. We got off that first quarter train, and so I kind of deserve that. So we're going to go back onto the first quarter train. Milwaukee Bucks first quarter. We're getting a 1.5. Very happy to take that 1.5. I think we kind of have that zigzag theory going on with Milwaukee. Coming to this game, they're a little bit more motivated. They won 8 games before the playoffs started in a row. So this is still a good team. They may or may not have Dame Lillard. I think he's still a little questionable for this one, but they coming off a game 25% from 3, 67% from the free throw line. I think we see a little bit more of a motivated, better shooting Milwaukee Bucks squad coming into this game. I think they start that first quarter really hot. Give me a 1.5 with that. I love for them to win it, but if you're going to give me a point, I'll take it.
Ben, before you duck out of here, I got to say, everybody's very happy to see you on the screen. Richard Pierce says the notorious BEN, and Dibion Das says, damn, that face is made for TV. And I think we all agree with that. So happy to have you in here, Ben. Well, Ben, we got more picks to get to. If you don't mind, can you take us to a break?
Absolutely. We will be back after this message from our partners.
She knows, and I know she knows.
All right, we're back. And Ben, you can pop in anytime. Love when Ben pops in, particularly with a pick. AMags buckets. It's fun. And Ken's, it's fun to see Ben out in front.
Love to see it, especially when it came down to Fort Lauderdale. It was like the real bet. It was very exciting. Love to see the team on screen.
Yeah, it's fun to be down in Fort Lauderdale. Ken's, I'll be down in Fort Lauderdale maybe in a couple weeks, but definitely in like 4 or 5 weeks for maybe a week. So I'll be doing some in-studio stuff. Go ahead, Buckets.
Is Panama City Beach close at all to Lauderdale?
It's not.
Oh, I'll be there in a couple weeks if that does anything.
Well,
nice Buckets.
Cool. It's actually like, I think like 6-7 hours away. It's like the other end.
Never mind.
Like
Sorry.
the front end, handle end. I think somebody can correct me on that. All right. Say it again, Ken's.
It's really, really far.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to get to an MLB play. And I don't know, this is always dangerous to do this, but AMags, maybe you can give me some thoughts on this play. Again, your thoughts are not official. It's my pick that's official. I put it in on SportsLine about, 30 minutes ago. I like Bryce Miller on the road in the Seattle Mariners at Fenway. Now, I will say this. Bryce Miller against lefties, it could be a problem. There's certainly some lefties that can get a hold of him. It should be a sort of a batter plus situation over at Fenway today when we consider the weather. But I'm really more concerned from a pitching standpoint with Brian Bayo. I mean, I like this guy. Like back when I was doing first fives all the time a couple of years ago, 2023, I thought Brian Bayo was a guy that I could kind of lean on in his young career. And I still think he's going to have a pretty good career, but he hasn't pitched yet this year. He's coming off the IL. Last year he wasn't great, although post All-Star game, he did start to rein it in a little bit. So I still think he's a good pitcher, but you come back off the IL. And by the way, his rehab stints weren't exactly super impressive. They weren't terrible either. Some of the expected numbers better than what the actual numbers were from what I understand. But with all of that said, coming in and facing a Mariners lineup, Bryce Miller on the mound, who's been impressive after a rocky start, and the Mariners have been hitting. They've really been hitting lately, and they've been hitting righties lately too. So I just think this is a good stuff. We talked about AMags saying his play was, 10, 15 cents off and the wrong team is favored. I understand the Mariners are on the road here, but first 5 here, I think you could take the full game considering the bullpens, but I'm a sort of a first 5 guy. And I think you could have this minus 110 each way. In fact, I think this was more like plus 110. I think some money has been coming in on the Mariners. I like the Mariners first 5 here. Money line at even money. So we're going to roll with that and see if I can bounce back. I've made 2 first 5 plays this year so far. Both of them have lost. So let's see if I can bounce back with Bryce Miller and the Mariners first 5 money line at even money. Mags, before we get to Mackenzie's NBA pick, any thoughts on this? I mean, especially considering the Brian Bayo situation. Am I sort of overstating the idea that, hey, it's his first start against a team that's starting to kind of light it up with the bats?
No, I think that's a fine analysis, honestly. And, as well, we've seen some of those Mariners like Cal Raleigh really get going with the bats. I think that's been the story a lot of times for the Mariners when we talk about them is the lack of offense. But Cal Raleigh has really been a major piece of their offense, hitting great lately. So I think that, you're looking there against Bayo, who last time out 71 pitches, it looked like in his last start there, gave up 4 runs in the rehab. So, he could actually not even last the full F5 for you. You could get into the bullpen there before your bet is done. So, yeah, I like the look there.
I will say I like both teams to score. I mean, I think this could be like a 3-2, 4-3 situation after 5, which is plenty of runs. The total, by the way, is 4.5 on the first 5 if you like that. I do lean to the over. I'm just happen to not be taking it. All right, I see some baseball questions. We'll get to those in a little bit. Ken's, talk to me about, we got 3 games tonight, all like very critical. At this point, like every game's critical, right? Especially to the teams that lost one at home. What's your play today?
I'm going to a prop here, and I know it's a very niche prop, so I'm happy to answer any other questions in the chat about just overall, game opinions. And in full transparency, I thought I was on yesterday's morning show, so I'm typing in my pick at like 8 a.m., got Mikal Bridges, and I was like ready to go submit my pick to Ben. Didn't see an email, realized I was on the show, but we still cashed that ticket if anyone saw it on the SportsLine site. Anyway, today we're going to Kyle Kuzma here. Now, he's in a very, very buy low spot. He's actually coming off arguably the worst game of his entire career with 0 points, 0 assists, and 0 rebounds. Now we get a nice buy low line here with 5.5. This is a guy who averages around 7.5, 7.8 technically on the season with Milwaukee. So this is just about effort points here, right? Rebounds and assists specifically, that's all about effort. And even if his shot's off again, I'm confident that he's going to put in the work to at least be crashing the boards, getting the assists that he needs to get. So this is just a line you want to take advantage of. And this is the best price. It's at BetMGM as well. So this line, people are catching on to, oh, hey, we're getting really good value now. So I have to imagine we're in a very good bounce back spot for a guy that literally averages closer to 8 rebounds and assists with the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right. We like Kyle Kuzma over 5.5 rebounds and assists. So talk to me, like when we look at the model or we look at your analysis, Mackenzie, we've got the Bucks +4 at Indiana. We've got OKC -14.5. Obviously, they won by infinity a couple of days ago. Lakers -6 against the Timberwolves. Did the model appreciate any sort of leans or edges with respect to the sides or the totals?
Yeah, I'd say one team we are fading again is Memphis. I mean, just taking their team total at least under 107.5. Like this OKC defense I've talked about all year is absolutely insane. And people, give them a hard time because they're not elite at rebounding, but it's because they're contesting every single field goal attempt from that Memphis team. That's where their, priority is. And they're so young, they're so athletic. They will push for 4 quarters of basketball and they're able to recover and do it again in a game too. So this is like one of those teams where it's not a fluke when they're dominating and killing teams like Memphis. I truly think that is just going to be the way they play throughout the playoffs. So taking Memphis team total under, looking at Ja turnovers over 3.5 turnovers, you can find at even money. That's another good look. His turnover to assist ratio is typically terrifying. Another team we like is Minnesota to cover the +6, and we like their team total over as well. That's a very different team where you have some older guys where maybe you see some game 2 regression. So opposite opinions there on that, fading Memphis, backing Minnesota here.
All right. We have Dano pointing out that we've got a 4-to-1 like to watch ratio. I love the watch ratio because we're about 500 right now, 119 likes. We could do better than that. We could probably get to 150, 200. Appreciate everybody being in here, though. If you can hit the like button, that always does help. Let's go around the horn here a little bit. Buckets, anything soccer-wise that we need to address in terms of comments or picks or anything else? Oh, you're on mute. But it sounds like you've got 2 things to address.
I've got 2 things to address. The first one is going to be the EPL clash between Man City and Aston. No! Okay. Well, I'm still going to give this out anyway. Man City, Aston Villa. Look at both teams to score and over 2.5 here. I know a lot of books have a boosted parlay if you do a same game parlay for this matchup. If you need a third leg, throw in like an Ollie Watkins or Omar Marmoush shot on target for that match. Second thing I want to address, Sia, is I want to give out my very first official MLB play here, just as a lean. Nothing crazy, I guess, official lean, whatever you want to call it. But I'm looking at James Woods over 1.5 hit runs and RBIs and Orioles with Nationals. A complete Buckets original -115. I'm playing that for unit.
A total Buckets original right there.
Well, it's a particularly Buckets original because there is no James Woods on the National. There's James Wood. Now, James Woods is an actor, and he might be able to hit a baseball, but he's like, he's up there now.
So quick with it.
Yeah, good job, Ben. So is that the guy you expect to get over, what was it, 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, the guy on the screen there?
He might as well, but I'm actually going for the American baseball outfielder, James Wood, who plays for the Washington Nationals left fielder.
AMags, your response.
Ben should have pulled up like 4 different photos of baseball players and asked him to confirm which one was James Wood.
That is funny.
We should do a segment with some like crazy famous NBA, NFL players and be like, pick out LeBron James, and we'll give him like 4 options.
It would be fun. Good day for lefties in Fenway today. Who gets the home run? So Jen is right. Not that I'm like a home run prop guy. I would never pretend to be, but I was interested because it is a good hitting day, AMags. And like you mentioned, Cal Raleigh, Devers on the other side. Like I thought there was going to be a lot of runs in this game. This would be the type of game for me. And again, I could be wrong, where I think it would be fun to like throw $5 down on like some crazy parlay where you got like multiple people hitting home runs and you got, hits, runs, RBIs, like those types of things. Is Cal Raleigh, because you mentioned him, is he a guy that you think could go Buckets the yard today?
So I'm just looking it up right now for the weather wise. It does look like, 10, 11 miles an hour pushing out towards, center, right center. I guess maybe not like a major boost to hitting per se, but it does definitely boost it. So yeah, guys like Kyle Raleigh could certainly be in play. I don't know if you remember this, Sia. I think it was last week. where it was all of us on the show, Ken's, Buckets, myself, and we had mentioned Mike Trout. Ken's mentioned Trout from their model. I mentioned that I also liked him, and then he homered. So I think we definitely have to give out some home run plays. I wasn't going to be on any for that specific game, but the one that I did want to mention is Yordan Alvarez, who has 5 home runs against Chris Bassett in his career in what was less than 20 at-bats. It was 22 or 23 plate appearances with a couple walks. But 5 home runs in that time, he has just simply had his number. And I think that tonight you at least have to have a little bit on a guy that has 5. He has 1 home run every 4 at-bats, essentially, which is once a game against Chris Bassett.
Yeah, that's fair. I do recall Chris Bassett looking really good last time out. He looked
Ben's
really
zigzag theory right there. Zig when they zag.
We have
go ahead, Mackenzie.
In our model, like our most likely home run today, where we would set the line at plus 260, is Cal Raleigh, who's at plus 360 over at BetMGM. So you are getting good value there. And he does have a lot of success against right-handed pitchers, but his OPS versus lefties, from what I understand, I know I'm not a huge baseball girl, but looks pretty solid and very promising here. And he's tied for the league lead in home runs at 9 and has 7. He has 7 of those 9 home runs in the last 9 games. Yeah. And then we also have, while I'm here, Jose Ramirez plus 560 you can find to hit a homer, and Jonathan Aranda. Did I say that correctly? Plus 450.
I like Aranda there, but Jose Ramirez, home run last night. He gets Will Warren, a guy that's not been good against lefties in the minors. He's not been good against the lefties in the majors. The only thing I would say is I was looking at some of the weather, like it is a little bit colder there than in some other spots, but it's warmer there than it has been recently. So I think Jose Ramirez is a guy that, from that standpoint of getting to face Will Warren, a young pitcher, I do think he could feast on him tonight. So I like that one.
All right.
You got Dinger Tuesday.
Dinger Tuesday.
You gotta cut this if he hits one.
Well, that's the thing. I actually think this is a really good discussion in the sense that I was even looking at this earlier this morning, and I never look at this stuff. So I just think we're ripe to maybe have this discussion and have a couple of these guys hit. Brad Betts Footy, Richard Pierre, talking about my biceps. Listen, that's never going to get old for me. So I appreciate you referring to those. I'm not going to flex today, but if everybody's super nice to me and we get some likes as Buckets chuckles, maybe we'll like Flex Friday or something like that. I don't know. But today's not the day for that, I don't think. Again, happy birthday to Aaron Taylor. Was it Aaron Taylor tailored winnings it was C Breezy 915.
Chris Brown.
Yes. Jeff Stenberg in the chat has some props here, over 2.5 threes for Miles Turner. We have so much to get to. Unfortunately, there was just too much conversation. We introed Ben, which was cool. So we've gone really late. So we actually got to get to the recap screen. Apologize for not getting to more of your comments. We'll do that tomorrow. I promise. More of your questions and comments and picks. I got Mariners first 5 money line today at even money. We've got Galatasaray over 1.5 team total, minus 130 from Buckets. And we've also got Barcelona, Mallorca, both teams to score at even money. A lot of plus money, even money plays today. Nationals first 5 money line plus 105, and Ellie De La Cruz over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at minus 120. Kyle Kuzma over 5.5 rebounds and assists at minus 128. Now we go to our SportsLine picks, where we've got a couple of people on the same play. It's Matt Severance, it's Jeff Hockman, both on Tampa Bay Lightning money line NHL playoffs, minus 115. Jack Flaherty under 5.5 Ks at minus 118. That is courtesy of Prop Bet Guy. And our very own Ben Wittenstein, our esteemed producer, well, he's got his producer pick. It's back. He's going for, if I'm doing the math here, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 9. I'm not sure what it is. Bucks first quarter plus 1.5. That is courtesy of Ben at minus 108. Swole Sia Saturdays. We'll have to bring that show in just for that. BPE Friday. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that already. Some of you are already as well. Love to see that. AMags, Buckets, Ken's. We got Ben. Oh, what a great show. Dano was asking about the early wedge tonight on this SportsLine YouTube channel and in your podcast feed. Yes, just because it's a team event, it doesn't mean we're taking days off. We're going to talk about this team event. It's going to be me. It's going to be EC, Patrick McDonald, and of course, Jason Sobel. And both me and EC were on Justin Thomas at plus 2,000 last week at the RBC Heritage. So we are riding very, very high. Hopefully you're riding high as a result of watching this show. Let's keep the vibes going into Tuesday. Let's get a great recap stream tomorrow. Maybe we'll see you on CBS Sports Network at 12 o'clock a very NFL draft heavy show with some NBA from Prop Stars and Mackenzie Brooks on that show as well. And then, of course, the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock. Subscribe to this channel, turn your notifications on, subscribe to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here each and every day, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning. We will see you tomorrow, and we rest our case.